know if there's an issue. This is quite an interesting match.
Yeah. Show full screen. Yeah, there we go. Very right side heavy at the start of this round. Not that I think it necessarily matters, but just that I guess it will try to keep a notice of.
Yeah. Good heads up.
Okay. Plus one. Oh, I'm surprised you decided to split that.
Yeah, right. Oh, hold on. This is the connection test. Hold on. Let me
Oh,
get into the
well,
actual
actually,
test.
there's no.
Yeah, there might be
Okay.
something interesting, but I think I played a bit weirdly during this. But I guess yeah,
Okay.
we can look. I'll just
Yeah,
try and find.
get that shit out of here.
Is this where the actual set starts? Okay. Oh, I'll go back a little more. Come on, Twitch. Come on. Okay, why you send me back all the way?
Oh no.
Okay, here goes. I should play a bit less weird now.
Okay, so it did not change my avatar in your stream. That's fine. I'm lazy. I'll figure that shit
Oh,
out later.
really? I mean, was it transparent like that before? I thought.
Oh no, I was trying to change the image completely to
Oh,
something else.
hold on. Let me log into my thing. Maybe I didn't log in and didn't update because of that. So let me make a new tab. Oh yeah, you can go over to my
You
screen.
do not leak your info on the stream, please. Streamer.
Don't worry. No, go to the website, please. Let's see. Did you? Ah, there we go. I see. Remove the default override. Yes, please. Revert all of them. And now, is that what you set?
Yeah, I have to set the transparent one, but you can just lower it, I guess. Make it small. Maybe make it smaller.
Yeah, I suppose so. Okay, I see. So the transparency didn't come through, but the actual avatar is at least there.
Yeah.
Let me
I
do
have
that.
the transparent version.
Yeah, we can make you
Yeah.
that. That doesn't cover the screen. Alright. Gotcha. Alrighty.
Right. Kamseo.
Here we go.
Okay, like the thorn. There's two really good thorns actually. Can you like rewind that actually?
Sure.
Okay, like this is good.
So this
Here
is
this
just
feels
like
fine.
being annoying. And then
Yeah,
being even more
here
annoying.
is there. Okay, so okay, I was wondering if there was any way to like avoid the three, but I think it's fine. Which one of those? Oh, could I have text faster just covered more?
Oh, so you're
I think it
wondering if
worked
I
out.
could have made a smaller faster chain.
Yeah, like here is weird because I'm thinking I've seen a lot of greens on the board, but there's no guarantee like you won't get reds. I'm just thinking if there's a way to like, I don't think the two is worth it because at worst it neutralizes.
Exactly. That's what I figured. Because from this
Yeah,
position, if he gets a red, he can make a two chain. And I guess if he has a yellow, he can make a three chain. But like, it's nothing more than that, I think.
yeah. I think there's just no way to really cover that. I just wanted to
Yeah.
be sure though.
And yeah, we can see that with his limited space, he's able to get like this much defense, but like it's not enough. So I think it feels like actually a
Yeah,
pretty perfect amount.
yeah, it's good. And yeah, the other
Okay, follow
thorn's
up.
just like you're
Yeah,
dead.
no space, just in case. Yeah.
A good start.
Chaotic said the exact same thing. Nice start.
Shut up about trash, honestly. It's already do much.
One line is okay.
The blue yellow situation is kind of annoying, but it looks like it'll solve. Ooh.
Any thoughts off the top of your head?
Go back. Just put. Cause I'm
Here?
thinking like here, if there's a really much to see that indicate that they were gonna attack.
Hmm. Yeah, this
Here, I
is
think it's
like,
fine. It's like
and that's okay.
I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, okay, blues are still accessible here. I'm wondering if this clear right here maybe said that they had a chance opportunity. Because once you clear this,
Mm-hmm.
right, you lose your blue tail.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying. I would like clear and just so I can see like what their board looks like.
So they're not looking to attack
Okay,
yet.
pause. Yeah, but their trades are also like not committal.
Hmm.
So it's kind of weird because I feel like the situation is potentially they looked over, saw tail doesn't work, which makes it life harder for you. And you just like look at this board right now. It's like
Mm-hmm.
okay, you have blue, red into purple. You have minimum 3 attack.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You have no response on tail.
Mm-hmm.
And at least looking at your current board, it's like okay, you can do red, blue, purple,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is what drove him to do the larger attack. But I don't know if like him looking at your board had that big of an indication, at least at this point. I feel like it's probably the yellow pillar that kind of gave away the option that you could attack once he noticed that the commit on the clear. Because you can only build so much space on the right side. So at
Yes,
least that's my
yeah.
initial thought.
Right side is a bit awkward. Let's just like, yeah, what, how did this
Yeah,
come
you see,
about?
I immediately opt for purple to cover the blues. That just tells me attack.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
you
I
still
guess I can go into main chain though,
extends.
right? Blue into red into
Yeah,
purple into blue. So it's actually kind of hard. He can pivot, which is powerful.
it's unfortunately dangerous because like okay, yellow, blue, red, purple is immediate four.
Yeah.
There's not like a lot to defend here with.
So actually, here's the thing. I caught it at this point. I
Yeah,
used this to prompt him into it, and then I did have a defense ready
before yeah, it's
on
like
the
no
right.
reds.
If I just got reds, would it have been enough? Not sure, but I did have something. I just yeah.
Is that better to prompt it over prompting with something other than the purples?
Let's see.
Because I'm looking here, like right here, right? I feel like you can split purple to make that additional 2 red and attack, because then you can just split your purples onto the purple blue and
As in
maybe
like
try to look
here.
for a different, yeah, and maybe just look for something else to pop.
Hmm.
But that's hard because like that requires something else to come up in the queue, and it's hard to say in like that moment.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think the
Because
better idea here would, like you said, so split purple between one and two. Put yellow
yeah,
in column two, and then if you
it's
clear the
for
purple,
yeah, because I'm thinking like longer attack, right? But also because you'll be clearing the reds, it'll give you access back to the yellow blue that you're trying to deal with
true,
anyways.
like the tail being awkward.
Yeah, but also getting rid of the trash will mean you can just add onto the blue purple situation later and just
Mm-mm.
make the blue higher. It's just by immediate, but it's like there's only one option in the grand scheme because you can say that, right? But that also means your entire left side just loses like its extension.
Yeah, like so many links.
It's a
Whereas
very big resource commit. So I don't think you were wrong.
to try and like
But
use this instead.
yeah, like I think there's options for both. But because you know he can opt into main chain, maybe at least in my head, it's worth sacrificing the 5 links to potentially rebuild if we don't think you can get enough of an attack back. But that's like a very that depends on like how the rest of the set goes. It's just the thought to hang on to.
Yeah. Okay. Just like committing more resources towards.
Yeah. Like
Hmm.
because like provoking a one chain, it like in my head is you are telling them to look over.
Hmm.
And telling them to look over after you pop that one is like not good. Because there
Yeah,
was
I see
not
what you
much
mean.
right? He's like I don't want to say it's like signaling, but when the one pops, with the double purple, like
This
it's
here.
like yeah, like stop right here is like okay, what would you see like if you were checking your opponent to hear that they were popping like a cleanup,
Hmm.
right? You would look over and it's like what? There's not much to see here. It's like you can't really easily put the double yellow anywhere other than like maybe column one, column six.
Yeah, true.
Uh, you are also, I think he's like slightly ahead of you in the queue.
Hmm.
So he knows there's no reds coming up or like nothing to easily extend on. But it's hard for you to know if he's ahead in the queue too, unless like
Yeah. I'm not sure how much these players would pay that high attention to the queue. It's hard to say, to be honest.
yeah, it's hard to say without talking to them. Like,
Yeah,
do you
exactly.
ever just feel like you're ahead in the queue? And maybe it's more like gut instinct than actually knowing.
Yeah.
It's just like at least at this point, like if you clear four purples and you see there's no purple on top of the blue, even if you put the double yellow in column one, it's like okay, you still have to find another way to get purple down, and you just cleared them.
Yeah.
And because yellow conflicts so hard, you actually have no good way, along with the blue too, to actually
There's
extend
no way
here.
down, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of almost it's like a weird you like weirdly deadlocked yourself, which I think gave him the knowledge that he could just cut his attack.
Hmm. So these purples, I wonder where I'd put them.
Yeah, because like your column, your blue is very high up, so you can
Hmm.
only fit what two more purple, two more blues. Oh, sorry, two more Poyos. Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's like okay, so you're pretty much forced into purple. Probably has to just go into a column one if you want main chain.
Hmm.
Yellow will clear out the other blue, so you can maybe try to do something wonky to get the yellow back to work, but even then it's like not very feasible. Like I feel like your mage is kind of awkwardly cut off.
It's a bit cooked. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I needed to find a cleanup option fast.
Yeah, I guess like your only other option would have been to clear up the column one,
Yeah, maybe
and
I
that
should
would
have
probably
cleared with the
signal
garbage. Yeah, that's a bit weird. I guess I went straight
because
down because I wasn't thinking, but I think it would have been better to clear here.
yeah, because then it's like at least you have access to 3.0, which you at least know that you need in that
It'll
area.
make a
The
difference,
only
yeah.
issue, yeah, the only issue, it just kind of goes back to like, I'm not gonna like focus on the queue because you don't know what the queue's gonna give you. But if the
Mm,
queue's nice, you can get the main chain pretty quick.
yeah.
Like if let's say a yellow red came up, it's like okay, cool, I can just split that real quick, and now I just need another fucking blue flash other color, and I'm
Yeah,
probably fine.
exactly. Okay. The one other thing I will say is that I think,
Mhm.
actually, though, he had committed to that attack from, like, the moment he saw these blues and purples, he probably went immediately for this because it's a very clean attack and he still
Yeah,
is, like, two-thirds of the way up the board, so he could easily build the rest of his main chain out. So I
that's
guess
true.
I'm not sure if my prompting actually changed anything regarding his options.
Uh,
However, they definitely like changed my board state into a way that was unfavorable.
yeah, but the thing is, the key you probably could have still opted into main chain by like cleaning up a link.
Hmm.
Like, it's very accessible. He has so much purple blue on the field. So I don't know how much it got prompted, but I just know that he's in the situation. He is flexible enough that he could just like fix up a link real quick,
Yeah,
seeing that
exactly.
you have no access to main.
Yeah. Unfortunate Reds though.
Yeah, uh, there's no good way to clear out that either, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's a wonky round because like I do think that changes depending on like the queue being different, but it's also like it's one of those you can and can't think about like the queue being different, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. So you got to figure out everything else that you can do with power and stuff.
Mhm. Because this is like pretty nice. Their build's kind of Interesting. Well, that L-shaped build did a lot more damage than I thought it was going to.
Yep. I didn't notice it early enough. And so I get punished.
Yeah. I think L-shape is also just like very deceptive because no one builds that kind of style of extension consistently, like at the lower levels.
Hmm.
So I think it's hard to pick up on like how much it's going to do and just like how flexible it is because it's really hard to
That
not only
setback
build
was
but
pretty
also to
awesome.
read. It's a good. It's doable, but it's kind of like just like, oh god, you have to go like so fast.
Yeah. And I was like, nah, I don't have enough. That round, I simply lost because I attacked here, and he was very easily able to go. You can see a group of three, group of three, group of three, another group of three. That is one,
Yeah,
two, three, four groups of three almost done. So he can easily make a four chain if he wants to, which he
yeah,
does. So I should not have provoked that. That's basically this round, I think.
yeah. I think I would agree.
I also would have liked to get greens, so I could have followed up as well, but that's, again, like, I just shouldn't have poked in the first place.
Yeah, it's also rough because you don't get to use your reds that you're trying to extend it with either.
Mm-mm-mm.
But yeah, I think you lose like a yeah, like you lose like your entire top half.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, well, I can't do anything with this. But I think I put myself in that situation.
Yeah, I think that attack idea was good, just unfortunately not the best timed.
Yeah, exactly. The timing was wrong.
Okay, let's chill still. I think I should even go for the thorn there. Any particular reason you just didn't want to poke with a large amount of reds?
So let's go back to. So this is fine. I noticed that he has a two double available. I'm like, okay, I don't want to deal with all that garbage. He takes it. He's forced
Yeah,
out of main chain right now. However, I'm scared that if I main chain now, I'm going to run into problems. So because his two double is accessible, I'm now building to block a two double. If I poke with something small here, he could very easily dig using these groups of three, and then he could just get to main chain and then just like, well, I mean, it's not the worst, but I just wanted to defend myself against this attack. So I was
I
conscious
get
of that. And then he
fair.
dismantles it, and then this garbage lands here, so now I can't even do my two chain.
Yeah, because what I was thinking with the double reds is like it's very uncommittal just to clear only the reds.
Mm.
And it kind of goes back to the what you're trying to do around before, like provoking out the attack.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can put these reds in column three, and like sorry, the next pair coming up, like this, you can go into either column two, and it's like you already see you have yellow red coming up
Mm-hmm.
and the green yellow. So this could either be like a really quick red yellow extension, or you can just very quickly pop a green more likely.
Where are you thinking these go?
I'm thinking those just go into column two, and you just do like a big poke. Because
I
I
think
used
he
because
gets
he has to
his
clear up.
this one, right? Doesn't he?
It's a power two, but I think you have enough of a chance with other players to get through. But that's just maybe thinking too eagerly.
I think it might be because there's a lot of power.
Yeah, I think it's like what I would call like a knowledge check, like to see if
Mm,
he's actually paying attention.
sure.
But very risky.
See.
But it's also just like, what else do you do with the two? 'Cause he's already running out of space.
Yeah. Um.
Uh,
I
and
guess
tough
once
option.
he
I think,
dismantled, I should have cleared this as a two chain
yeah,
or something, just so I could like clear up space.
I think two here is fine, cause you clear here. If you hit red, blue, yellow, you have double green coming up, and you can go for green, red, green, red.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
Yeah,
simple enough. Whereas
yeah, and then just
now I'm stuck because I didn't try and.
Yeah. It's more so that you're also splitting to try and get this Ekbrand extension over.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I think this is one of those hindsight things where like you tell oh, I see that damage there, but it seems like in the moment of playing the match, you did not see that that was only the damage and not possibly main chain,
Yeah, exactly.
which I assume is still feeling out your opponent slash comfort.
Yeah, it's hard to tell when you're this early in the set, definitely.
Yeah, it's just the pain. It's the early feel out your opponent. This is long. These sales are weird. I never quite know how to judge them in comparison to the rest of the field. Wow, that's huge. Okay.
No yellows the whole time.
Yeah, that's just rough. I think that was a very hard attack to spot. I might have even considered splitting the yellows over like to get just to secure the
Just to
three.
make sure, yeah.
Yeah, because you don't need the yellows for anything else at the moment.
That's true. Yeah. I think so here's the thing, like right now I don't see any attack. Because that attack there is actually really sneaky. I think that's probably my issue. I wasn't preparing for an attack because I was like, oh wait, he needs green, yellow, and then he can go like 4 chain. This is very subtle.
Yeah,
This shape here, this L and this L, I did not see that. Definitely
it's
not.
very committal too. Like his tail like does not get that damage from this.
Yeah. So then I saw it and I was like, okay, I guess I have to.
Mm.
This is my emergency option.
Yeah, which is good that you have, and the power grease is helpful.
Yeah, I should have put my yellow here. I wanted to put purples here so that when it goes yellow, green, then reds, then purple.
Yeah,
But I should have made sure I had the yellows in place. Yeah,
yeah. And I think it's just hard to like in the moment because once you're already in a bad position, you kind of just have to go with what you think will win you around in a way.
it's just like yeah, playing out of instinct.
Because that would just look like hard round to read. Good
Yeah,
luck.
exactly.
Really builds his tail much differently compared to some other plays I would see.
Hmm. That was an error. I thought the purples were gonna link.
Yeah, that's rough. I was thinking about in that round. I feel like the trigger just got unfortunately exploded.
Hmm.
And you seem like your tail is in any position to have any sort of attack on it either.
I wonder if I should think about, yeah. So I built this out and I'm like, okay, it goes blues, reds, then purples. And I'm trying
Yeah.
to build out this front so that I can respond to, you can see this 3 chain is starting to happen.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm like
It's
a bit
also
scared.
weird because it's also a main chain too, because that form is so good for that
Correct.
flexibility.
Yeah, it's just like the basics of multiple stacking where you have this attack and also it takes one key period to connect to
Yeah.
your main chain. So I'm just conscious of it. I'm like, okay, I need to build up a defense of my own. And so I do this and it looks like a 1, 2, 3 to me, except the purples don't work clearly, but you know, that aside. But you're right, like I think I should have used my tail space a bit more effectively to defend if instead of just relying on the front. I guess I thought the front would do the trick though. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you have the three link, you don't die.
Exactly. And then I can. This is only a. Oh, well, actually, it's a 3 double. I don't know
That's
if I
still
can.
strong. I think you just get forced into full.
Yeah, it would be.
Hmm. Oh, this is nice.
It was a nice find, yeah.
She's sort of really nice for blue tail too, if you wanted it to. That's good.
And then he's stuck now. He can't get to main chain, and then I noticed that. So he has to
Yeah,
dig. And because he has
I
to
think
dig, I can just finish him off.
it was a really strong attack that round.
Yeah.
She almost got that too, which is fucking insane to me. Like,
Hmm.
Christ, the Q
Yeah,
was
it was
almost messed
close.
enough.
Exactly. That's why I had to be like really swift with it and just like I was like, oh, I see a cut opportunity that'll help cut off like the links in my chain that make it too long.
I think I've been training. He actually slows down a little bit here. And he just doesn't like long tail forms.
Yeah, yeah. He tends to emphasize a lot. Here's a very interesting thing. So I didn't want to send it
Yeah,
until I saw that he had a blue. And the reason is because if he sent with the blue right now, then he's not used a bunch of his chain. And it's like, okay, that's
yep.
fine. I can just like out extend him now. And then he makes a mistake and accidentally has blue. And then I just win off of that instead, which is like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is just gone.
Like
It
his mistake was
Fortunate for
just like
him.
doing that. It's like that was
Yeah.
unnecessary.
Maybe take this.
Yeah. So pretty good judgment, being patient.
Yeah. He clearly wasn't ready. I think potential and that he doesn't like long tails because he has kind of avoided building them for the
Hmm.
most part.
I think
Or
he
he's
likes
like
to
that.
attack with that space instead.
Yeah, I feel like when you build like triple colored flat, it's just you don't get a lot of usable space.
Hmm.
I think your tail gets a bit more locked in. Because I say like that's like this, where it's like you put a bunch of L's on his tail.
And it's
That's
like that's
already
done.
stronger.
Yeah.
Because now it's like, oh, his build attacks are very convoluted and hard to read.
This is a fun one.
Oh, nice tail attack. Damn. Five. He has no blues. Oh. Oh, that's trying Jesus, I didn't even see the explosion.
And then he doesn't get the yellows. It was a very close fight though.
Yeah, that was spicy. You're supposed to really practice the null shape. I'm kind of like keeping an eye on like the tails that he's building now.
Yeah. They're very standard shapes, but he makes them work really well.
Yeah.
There he's poising himself for an attack. I build up vertically because I don't have a defense.
Good play.
But then he follows up.
Okay, it's still like solid. Like, okay, I did what I could with the space.
Yeah.
He's definitely getting a little bit more, I guess, aggressive. And I
Hmm.
can't tell how much of that is like he just thinks he can get away with it versus how much is like he's just being weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the thought process behind it was either, to be honest. And it's hard to evaluate without his input.
Yeah, because now it's like, okay, we're back to a long tail, and it kind of goes back to like, oh, he's slowing down again.
Hmm. But he did aggress that time. Like he was the one who sent the first attack again.
And it might just be naturally aggressive.
He
It might
is
just be
a
like a preferred
fast
way.
player, so using your resource advantage through your attacks does make sense.
Yeah, I think it's partially that and partial. I think there's sometimes potential for players to feel more forced to attack if they feel like as a player that's just what they do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's their style. And then in the end there I didn't remember to put a green there, so that was unfortunate. But it was a
Unfortunate.
good volley up until that point. I
Yeah,
felt like we kept our options pretty open the whole time, which is why I was able to access stuff. So in this case, I kept my tail open for because this is my tail here, and it's
Yeah.
like okay, cool. I defended with it, and then here's my transition, but I keep it open as well to try and get some defense opportunity in, which is good. And then I keep it open, but it's just like this final one where I forgot to put a green here. Otherwise, it would have
Yeah.
been enough. So that would be a 14 as well.
Is this first to 20 or
30.
okay?
Yep, yep.
So back to L shapes for him. Oh wow, what a misplay pop from him. See, now it's like we're
Yeah.
in this point where it's like I think the attack is good, but I can't tell how much of his response is now just coincidental. It's on that same tail type versus if he's just rushing now.
As in, so back here, right?
Yeah, like this is weird because if you kind of keep going,
Uh-huh.
like see, like this isn't bad like situation, right? It's like okay, this
hmm
is fine, and it's like okay, he sets up for an attack, and it's a little weird to pop that and just be like, oops.
I think he just
Okay, I
didn't
don't.
realize how much I had to attack with. I mean, this is
Yeah,
another one that's kind of hard to spot. It's like, oh, it looks like I'd want to attack with the green, so it's just a 3 chain. And so if he responds, it's fine. But because I clear back here, it makes a much larger chain than he expected.
yeah, that's what kind of feels like because at this point it's like okay, he just put his push. He should have had time to look for the 5. Or he's
I,
like hear the
yeah.
number, but I'm not sure. It's rough because I feel like we're getting to that point like, oh, was it just a good start from him, or was it like is he just like not paying as much attention as maybe credited beforehand at the start of the
Mm-mm-mm.
set?
Right, right. Looking at like the set as a whole.
Yeah,
This is awkward because there's no reds for a while.
he has a big attack if he wants it. Okay.
Yeah, so we're both just like, okay, that was a weird cue. Let's get rid of some resources because there was so much piling up.
This token gets really awkward too.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, let's get you to main chain, which is good. But then I've committed to a few too many things. I just need 2 more blues left, but the fact that I needed blues here and yellows and another yellow was a little too much.
Yeah. When does he set off main chain? Go back.
Mm.
Because okay, he attacks here, right? This is fine. It trades back.
And then he can't do anything, so he has
Yeah.
to main chain.
This is just like it does not look that powerful to me, at least in my head.
Mm.
So this probably goes back into like counting lengths. 5, 6, because I really like 8 here.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's a it's like oh he'll do an 807. Part of it does look like it just was no blues, and the person's like, how much do you really need to extend?
Yeah, the alternative is I could have just gone blue into purple into blue. And I wonder how much that is. Blue is, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's you're already ahead on
I guess I didn't
so
realize it because this looked like it had more resources than me. I didn't have time to read
yeah.
it. So I rushed for a bit of extension. But yeah, the severe lack of blues made it difficult. Then how long was this
Yeah,
even if I'd gotten the blues? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very powerful.
Yeah, very strong.
Was
It's
it necessary?
unfortunate that the Blues came out. I think the Blues you probably could have played a bit safer on, but this kind of goes back if you had known like his stream was going to be that short. So I think the issue is less like was the extension bad and more was could I have read that chain better?
Mm-mm. Yeah, like determine how much chain power is actually behind that.
Yeah, because now you know you didn't actually have to do that extension, or he's not as greedy of one.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think there's something to be said about the fact that even if I had beaten his chain, the thing is, we've seen already that his second chaining ability can be quite strong. And so
Mhm.
if I don't have enough extra power when I send it back, then he's going to just chain back on me. And so I do have to be careful to extend. But again, like in that case, I only needed a little bit more extending. So I was a bit too
Yeah,
greedy.
yeah, because you already had an 8 already to a 7. Like I think at that point a 9 is just literally enough to win that. Or
Yeah.
I say like 9 plus a maybe a bit of extra power is probably good. Okay. Oh God.
Yeah, that was something.
Okay, no cover though, so not entirely unlucky.
And then I'm stuck.
Yeah, he just did a really good job of just constantly repoking you.
So I guess the question is here, because I see this threat this whole time, so I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
I'm trying to build up something in response. But he makes a clever play in that he doesn't commit to this attack and instead creates a second one. And so I'm like
yeah,
sitting here going, oh wait, I didn't expect that. This is what I was going to defend with initially, this 14. And so now he has a follow up, and I'm not ready for that.
yeah. Like very good plan on his because at this point it's just like devil rides are covered.
Mm,
YoshiAus. It's hard to say like okay, so pause your thinking.
mm,
So it's like I guess it's probably just too hard. You didn't expect the right side. You're probably more focused on left.
exactly, yeah. Which is something I need to take away as well. Like if I'm threatening someone with a big attack, then I don't need to commit to it
Yeah,
necessarily like straight away. I can just like do a small poke, get them to respond, and then follow up with my like massive planned attack. And that way it forces them into an unfavorable position. So I'm taking something away from Pierre's gameplay this round, which is really
yeah.
clever. Because without that follow up, I would be fine. But I'm not fine now because he followed up so well.
Hmm.
I guess in other words, the first attack that you build doesn't have to be the first attack that you use.
Yes, and I think that's also extended into the. Am I reading my opponent's board correctly and my board correctly?
Mm,
Because that feels more the consistent situation than if specifically you like the build order.
mm.
Like there's been like one or two like oops kind of chains, but I feel like a lot of the current moments are I have more than I think, or I'm not sure if I'm reading what they have correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was bad because now my transition is in an awful, awful spot.
Yeah, I go into Zai for this. I personally think it's terrible for Sullen to attack with your column 1 and 2 at any point. Because the way you fix that situation is just like clear the green pillar and depending on your key, you almost forego column 1, which is terrible.
I think attacking with this area is fine as long as you don't put pillars. Because even if I this was GTR, making a pillar like this is just really bad. So you should just never make
Yeah.
pillars on your
Yeah,
transition.
searches just aren't common too for GTR or Sullen anymore. or in general.
Hmm.
Like I know there's some like old info like people used to do like pillar builds,
Hmm.
and like, I think there's some viability to them. I think they're just really hard. Because I know the most common places to have the pillar in these kind of like transitions is
Hmm.
on the one or the three. It's never in the middle because it's like the sideways double L basically. It's pretty
Mm.
much a less common form of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much better to have it for horizontals instead of. Well, I
Yeah,
think it's because I didn't realize it was going to end up like that.
I feel like it kind of goes back into like foresight.
Yeah.
But like, okay, I place this here, and I either should be opting to find another green to add to this, or
Yes.
I probably shouldn't pop it at all.
I think I panicked because I thought this would be more powerful than it actually was, but it was actually only like one or two garbage.
Hmm.
So really, yeah, I shouldn't have popped it because it would have been fine if I had left it, um, left
Yeah,
it alone. Like this is fine. It's not gonna. Yeah, it's okay. You can still work with it, but after popping, it just leaves like a really really bad board.
yeah.
And now I'm forced to just like play a defensive game, which I cannot do very well with this.
Definitely tough. Yeah, then it's like once you're sullen, like it just feels bad. It always feels bad.
Yeah. There's just no way to extend very safely.
Yeah, and I just feel like this, like okay, I might as well just forego my column one.
Yeah.
I know what. By that point, you're just so far behind. It's like, well, even if you forego column one, it's still bad.
Yep.
My watch. Yeah, see, like you kind of see like some of the old school pillar builds on his side. Like they technically exist. They're just I think they're hard to like would do without cutting.
As in like in
Um,
column one, right?
yeah.
I think it's fine as long as yeah, it's after the horizontal. You don't want it directly on top though, otherwise it's going to cause
Hmm.
problems. It's crazy exchange though, very even in the end. But then he didn't realize I committed so much. I think.
Yeah, that's a really hard tail read.
Yep.
Yeah, it's such a weird set because I feel like so far as pro players are doing like good attacks and like looking for like the appropriate options and making all those like the smart like macro plays.
Mm.
It's just that small bit of one slight misread or one slight this is a little bit bigger than I expected. That just kind of like surprisingly spiral a lot heavier than I think it usually would. Also think for this is his first time just going straight main chain.
I think there was a lot of confidence in this though. That's a massive 99k.
Yeah.
So he felt pretty good about it.
Very reasonable, but I also think that's such a risky thing to do at this like kind of level of play.
Yeah, it definitely is. It paid off this time just because I was a little bit stuck here. Like I could have tried to extend a little bit more, but it would have been greedy, right? So, like,
Yeah.
yeah, and it was very close, like 93k versus 99. And then he had a second chain too, though. So like, I needed to extend even more than that.
Hmm. As from what you've watched so far, how do you feel about how you read your opponent's board this set?
Generally, I feel like I was adapting quite well and
Yeah.
using my resources effectively, especially when I used my tail. Because a lot of the time when I was
Mhm.
doing stuff with my tail, he couldn't read it, and or
Yeah.
he just like misjudged how powerful it was. Like there was a time that I made like a 5 chain back here, and then he only sent like a 3 chain or whatever, and like that happened a few times, and so I feel like that's one of the most effective things that I was doing at this time. It was converting different pieces of my build to defend against
Yeah.
what he had.
Yeah, makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay.
And then I'm not sure if he wait. What did he do exactly then? There was a problem with his build. If I did this and then I guess he doesn't have. I don't know. Maybe it was a he
He had
misregistered
like
chain.
this very weird like column 3 drought for yellows, and then he wanted
Yeah,
to like do something to defend, and it just didn't work.
yeah, and you can tell he's a bit like confused by what he did.
He's just like, oops, everything went wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And then he tries to get down.
Yeah.
But it's fine, because again, I used my tail there instead of using the front of my chain and committing to full chain, because he could have had
Yeah,
enough time to dig. So I feel good about that.
true. Which is kind of crazy. He's still dig out of this fuzz. It's like gross.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at that. He's entirely at an accessible point, which is
yeah,
awful.
that's right. But he just needs too many colors. Like he needs 2 more greens and 2 more reds,
Yeah.
which is like a lot. Also, he needs split to get that, which is too slow.
True. Okay. But he's kind of counters you. You just like throw 3 Puyo on this side. He's like, yep, this works. It's like, oh god. Yoshi.
That's just like one of those timing things where it's like, oh, like I had it. I just needed to use the yellow. I just needed to have the yellow.
Yeah, it is rough because I think building for or horizontal is just so risky on all
It
clear.
is. It is.
It's like, 'cause I think he'd do whatever he wants. He did build horizontal.
Yeah.
I think when you build vertical, you just have to accept that you're probably gotta set yours off first just to be
Mm.
safe.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, 'cause I think the advantage of like horizontal building all clear is that it's usually much easier for you to make a real chain after a point, like in terms of
That's
length,
the
than
thing I
with the
always get
counter.
scared of because like sometimes I have built a very vertical chain and then oh no, like they have a real chain now and I can't beat it. So
Yeah, I think it's just one of those hard things to judge because it's very much, I think, based on player matchup.
yeah. That's it.
It's a very big time.
The problem here is that I have this very awkward. Okay, it's it's not necessarily just the the vertical 3, but anything that
Yeah,
leaves a hole in column 1 is a problem.
yeah,
You just don't want that situation. Now the way I could have avoided that is if I had split the blue over here, but
yep,
then I wouldn't have gotten my piece in time. So if I just read his attack better, but I think that's one of those like in the moment it's just hard to keep up with this. So at this point I should
yeah,
have seen the fact that he had an attack available, which I did. I think that's why
mhm.
I'm building all of this. But then I don't see a green coming up, and so I get like a bit self-conscious around like my build. And then
Yeah. I'm
he
surprised you split
attacks.
that. Yeah, I probably would have opted just to keep the blue safe if you already know that the attack is potentially coming.
Hmm, it's hard. This
Yeah,
is one
I
of the
mean,
things. Mm.
this is one of those critical thinking matches, unless the fundamental of it.
And then I try and
Yeah,
do
I think.
tail instead because the front of the chain is so inaccessible. But then I don't do it correctly.
Uh, I do think one of the interesting parts about this set
Hmm.
uh, is that your attacks are definitely more varied. I do think that has put your opponent in a very uncomfortable position in a couple
Mm-hmm.
of rounds. So, like, because you talked about before, right?
Hmm.
your opponents can sometimes get like very comfortable because your attacks are very telegraphic in
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
ways. But I feel like your opponent seems like uncomfortable sometimes when you just can't tell how big your attack is, which I think is a good sign.
Yeah, there are a lot of rounds where I poked with like one chains, and then there were ones where I did like huge two chains, and then there are some where I did big like five chain. So I suppose making sure that I'm consciously mixing up my attacks makes it harder for my opponent to build in a way that's like able to defend. Because I do that subconsciously during this set, but I wasn't quite sure what was working until, yeah, you bring up the fact that it is mixing up stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, it is one of those things we did talk about a little bit, so I
Mm.
think it's a good sign.
This is sad.
It's okay. Sometimes we have sad rounds.
Hello, Framika. Welcome on in. Hope you're well. Yeah, I was like, oh, 50k chain. That's enough, right? Look at this. Look at this
Mhm.
monstrosity. Okay, okay, okay. You can't tell me a human being figured that last part out,
You don't
right?
think he just knew that would just crazily work like that?
There's no way you realize that the reds and then the yellows are gonna happen, right? Look at the chain. Look at this. There's no
I think
way.
I'm sure there's someone other who actually can, but at least when I do stuff like this, it's usually like I think maybe. It's never like, oh yeah, it works 100%. It's a maybe if I'm lucky it'll work.
Like, look at yeah, exactly. But I think I actually did have enough. I just these last two links are crazy. I was like, oh, okay. I guess I
Yeah,
die now.
yeah, I only can reasonably account for that.
Yeah. So many greens.
Very much so. So, oh my god,
Hmm?
I'm dying. Fucking coffee.
No. So that one I wanted to defend with this,
Mhm.
but I just didn't get it in time, so now I have to pivot.
It's not the worst, dude. Like, it's annoying. Okay, wow, that was unfortunate.
I committed to too much, I think.
A little bit, yeah.
Like I guess I didn't realize how short this was. Otherwise, it would have been fine, but I would have been able to just use the yellow that was coming up
Yeah,
and
like
go
Thorn
one, two,
Defense would also been
three.
real.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's an easy choice. The thorn as well. But I didn't see. Is it hard to read, or was I just maybe I just wasn't looking at this book? Let's see. Is this hard to read?
I think just maybe just more you were trying to fix up your own build.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's one just hard to catch. Like,
just a reading issue.
which these three issues are a bit, I would say, easier to fix than gameplay.
Yeah. This is nice.
Mm.
Until it's not, because then the red came. But I kept my yellow open, which I felt very proud of.
Yeah, that's smart. To me, very interestingly, it feels like your opponent is now the one. See, I think the last time we talked about it's like, oh, you do so many just Hellfire 2 every round, right?
Hmm.
And I don't think it's every round for him, but he definitely has like I feel like attack pattern is becoming more frequent, which is just he wants power too. That is what he does.
Yeah.
What I think is good to notice that he's, when we can, right, is just like, oh, there's the gameplay loop.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kind of take advantage of that for the time being.
Mhm. Because like now it's like, oh, he has a really big attack technically, like, or he's like lengthwise, but he doesn't really opt for it because I feel like it's like, oh, he's looking for power again. It's like, into like another big two.
This one I felt really proud of because I made sure to fix my sullen like up here
Yeah, that's sick. That
before
was
I
so
even
sick.
sent it, and I was like, oh, yeah. So now
I
I can extend.
love I love when people like preempt like they're technically their next part of their chain like that on top of the attack.
Mm,
It's so smart, so
feels
good.
so good, yeah. And I didn't even need to use it, but it's just cool that it happened.
I also like that you are mixing up other forms because I do think it is starting to mess with him a tiny bit.
Mm.
Like that, even he's trying to change forms. Like what? This is like the first like
Yeah,
non
this
GT
is
arc I've really
insane.
seen.
This is so weird. This, I don't think it actually even works. And here's the problem, Riley. I don't think it works, and I lose the game because of this. So I'm like, oh, it's a main chain. No, it's not.
Yeah. Right,
So
and it's like it kind of goes back to that, right? You were in the habit of his other thing,
exactly.
and he went for something weird.
Yeah, yeah. He did a good job of reversing back the mix-up game on me. And then here again, I can't follow his chain, so I'm like, I'm gonna attack that now. This time it worked.
Yeah, I am very surprised by this adaptation because I didn't. I feel like when you do that kind of like you change your chain form, you are looking for a specific goal.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what his goal is here. It is a very jank kind of submarine.
Yeah, I know, right? It is super jank.
Like I only see Saki build this form of submarine. And like usually when I see stuff like this, it's usually just to try and like knowledge check or like make your just build very convoluted.
Yep.
But the
And you
issue
can
is,
see me sitting there trying to read it.
yeah, it's funny. It's just like there's a power two again or attempt at power.
And then I didn't realize it exploded. Oh no, I did. Never mind. I was smart.
Yeah, it's just I'm trying to like think of like what is the advantage here. I think maybe it's the covering of his attack, so it's not as easily predictable.
That makes sense because I was defending well against his attacks before this.
Yeah, I used to probably it probably is that if I have to like try to think put my head in the player, like maybe his feeling is okay, this guy's starting to adapt to my attacks a lot more. He's changing up his attack pattern. I need
Exactly.
to do something different.
He does it again.
Yeah, 'cause I hate this one.
I hate it too. Actually, this is disgusting.
Is it one of those forms like, oh yeah, no player in their right mind should ever build this because it's so bad,
Yeah.
and I'll attack it, and it's like stairs. It's like, oh, I attacked this, but they somehow miraculously made it a 15 chain I just couldn't
Yeah.
read. And I
It's,
clearly was just like the worst player, and I was like, okay, man. Like, right, it's like there's nothing like workable.
yeah, exactly. And so I'm getting a lot of mileage out of this actually. Oh, except wait, what
No,
happened there? Oh, I just
you had
forgot
an
about the purple. Yeah, I should have forgot. Otherwise, I would have had this round too. I just forgot.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but I think that was like that it's still in your favor. I don't really think I should would have maybe a two attack that. Just the aggressive part of me would actually want to try to cover his GTR.
Yeah.
That is a meta decision though. That's more like, okay, he's trying to mix things up. He's going back to his other form because his other form he clearly realized like last round it was not going to win,
Yeah.
and he kind of got away with it. So I feel like making his GTR uncomfortable actually is like completely viable. Also, the rip red and purple.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
round, I saw this build and I'm like, okay, he has a 1, 2, 3, 4 chain available, right?
Mm-hmm.
I also am going to make a 4 chain. Yippee! I have a 4
Oh,
chain. This is so sneaky. This is insane. I don't fault myself for not reading that.
yeah, this is hard. One of the harder things to do.
Yeah.
It definitely is like a point in reading. I think you have to like take it by steps.
Mm.
So you kind of have to like slowly work your way up to a bigger chain. And you have to like
Yeah.
slowly work your way up to reading like harder, more convoluted bullshit in doses too.
So I think this is I've talked about it in I think a previous review together, but I thought about the idea of the fact that you can connect your tail and the front of your chain through like
Mhm.
a common color. So here, this is just a matter of in my head in the future, I need to be thinking about the fact that there's a yellow close to another yellow in the tail here. Maybe they can link up, which is really hard because sometimes it's just a coincidence. But I guess the prospect is always going to linger there. Because if I had seen that there were yellows close by, I would go, hey, is there a yellow that connects them? And then I can look at this thing. So that's my baby steps for improvement.
Yeah,
Because you're right, I should be building up to reading this.
which I think this might be the hardest part of Puyo, honestly, is like reading those convoluted attacks.
Yeah,
Just being like, I can read that their chain's gonna explode on both sides
very
is
clever by
really
them.
fucking hard. Yeah, because it's very weird. Because it's one of those sets where it's like, I think there are 2 rounds that are just like oopsies, hiki misdrop that your
Hmm.
opponent kind of got lucky on. So I feel like the sets, the player skill level, I feel like is pretty even.
Yeah, right? Which I was pretty surprised about. I was like, oh my gosh, this set's like actually one that I could win finally. So, good vibes, good vibes.
Finally, someone trash.
Or I just leveled up because I was also reading
Yeah,
really well this set too.
sure.
And here we
Yeah, like
go.
you definitely far less reading mistakes this time.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I was panicking a lot in previous games or previous sets. Yippee!
Nice. Oh man, the tail wraparound too. Oof.
Yeah, feels good.
It, it definitely seems like their adaptation is trying to stay ahead because their other forms are working, and I think you're adapting to their GTR comfortably, or it's like more comfortably than I think they probably expected you to.
And then they go and do this weird like thing again. What is this?
I kind of this stuff's like almost like net playability, like in a sense that it is a form that they are probably comfortable on, but don't play like in a competitive setting.
Hmm. Anyway, I ended up dealing with it being fine.
Yeah, yeah, but he really thought he covered you, which I mean I respect. It did look like it was gonna potentially do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like because in my like net playability, in my see like by like not playing tournaments, like it seems like he's comfortable, but because you don't play the form in a tournament setting, I think it makes you play almost riskier because
Hmm.
you play like how you would in net play, and usually you're not making the safest of gameplay decisions if you're on net play.
Yeah, 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 totally.
It's like okay, we're back to like old reliable
That
here.
was good. That's just like
Yeah.
I committed a bit too hard on the yellow green and he immediately attacks, which is really good. Because that's the sort of thing where if you want to attack early game, you almost never should unless you spot
Mhm.
something like this from the opponent. And he did, and it's like, okay, good, well played. So this is just me getting caught out. And I should have just read the fact that he had that. So like it goes both ways. Like he spotted me doing something wrong. I didn't spot him taking advantage or having the option to take advantage of it. Very nice. So when I saw the match, and essentially the match was really good. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it, Frank. I feel like this was a really good game from me, and also like a good match for the audience to watch because this is incredibly close.
Yeah. Where was this your opponent in the league or
Like
match?
the opponent's name or
Oh no, like how were they? How do you know like how they were doing in their matches before this?
I think their only match they had done so far was against the player that I did best against, which was
Okay.
30 to. No, sorry, the other way. 21 to 30. And then he lost like 22 to 30. And so I was like, hold on a minute.
Uh-huh.
Maybe we're close. And then it ended up coming through here. But that's the only data I had in terms of their performance before fighting me. I think I have a lot of the earliest matches because I'm going on holiday, whereas this
Yeah,
runs
makes sense.
until March, so people are scheduling their matches later. So I don't get much player data, unfortunately. Which maybe
Makes
that's
sense.
also why I'm losing so much because everyone gets player data on me.
I think that is like a legitimate like thing
Yeah.
for streaming. Like, uh, what's it called? Uh, Also, this is very funny, like position. Look, I did not use Call of Six at all, but
Mm.
I do think streaming in general does give away a lot of your strategy. Like in general, if people know that you stream.
Yeah. That's
I
also valid.
when I was, I think part of the reason I started going even in a lot of my Asia leagues where I
Mm.
wouldn't lose points is because most of the people I end up playing start streaming, and I would just go back and watch their stream.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew people did that for me when I was streaming and still entering
Hmm.
tournaments actively. It's very easy, just like, oh, let's see what they're building and just check it on the stream.
Exactly.
Which is
Yeah.
why, like, when I was tryharding and got a lot better,
Mm.
I started beating a lot of people. One thing that was happening was I wasn't streaming because people
Yeah.
will watch that information.
That's right. Nice defend. Then he didn't get yellows. And it was like, okay, I guess I win off of RNG this time. We take those.
Yeah. Yeah, because the left side is very consistent with the right side. This is very clear, like a reversible submarine now.
Except I didn't find it very clear, and so I exploded.
Yeah, but also, who's building a reversible submarine?
Insane. So I end up just like blowing up my chain because I'm like, deal with it. And he doesn't.
Eh, But if you like pause, like what is how his build ended up on?
Here.
Like, you remember how I talk about pillars? There's so many. There's so fucking many.
So
This
either he can
chain
trigger
explodes. It's so vulnerable.
red, blue, red, yellow. This one height difference causes blue, purple, red. Or he can go red, blue, purple, blue, yellow, red, yellow. Like,
Yeah, that's what he's trying, I
this
think,
is
to do.
insane.
But it's just so hard to do
Exactly.
and
Well,
like
what was he
be
missing
reasonable.
here? I guess he needed another blue. Does he get it?
Blue, yellow. But
Or
he's
was he trying
actually
to extend
opting
this way?
he's trying to extend on the right. He opted for right side over that.
But
But it's
then
like
where's the trigger?
the trigger is like supposed to be like some crazy shit with the purple yellow, but he ran out of space because he actually can't use those purples at all on his column two
Hmm.
easily. Because if he needs to, what's it called? If he wants to use it with column three, they'll actually like break his chain a little bit
Yeah.
awkwardly. I don't know. This is like one of those weird, like there's too many steps where his chain's just gonna power and he realizes he needs length.
Yeah.
So he's trying to find options, but there's too many conflicts from all the
Yeah,
pillars.
yeah, that's right. The pillars do cause conflicts. Because if one of them breaks down, then the rest of your chain is like in trouble. Closing that gap. Still building a little funny, but that's still pretty readable at least. At the very least, it's readable. Um, And then I make this play.
Mm-hmm.
Need 2 more greens. 1 here, 1 here.
Yeah.
I committed too much too early. Like, you shouldn't be 5-chaining that early into the game. Up here, it's fine, but that was, oh no, it was a 4. Either way, that's still too much to send that early into the game.
Yeah, I like, it's one of those two, it's maybe just a little too optimistic on like, oh, his trigger kind of is hard to rebuild if he loses
Yeah,
it.
right. So I was like, oh, he might respond with this 2-chain or something. It's like, oh no. Why would you do that? That was just poor judgment from me.
Yeah, right idea, just wrong timing.
Yeah. Almost got
But at
that.
least you made up a what 7-point deficit at one point, so you're still doing pretty good.
It's pretty good. And here he goes again.
Yeah, this just seems like he also wants to mix up, and I think this is the correct play from him, like to try and build another form he is comfortable with to keep you on your toes, keep you
Yes.
uncomfortable.
That
It does make me
agree.
happy that my read was right about doing that.
Yeah.
Just to know that the top players, thank you, analyst. But also, I hate that this actually works.
This is disgusting. And then it, yeah. Like, I only just get out of it, which means now I have to be able to follow up.
That's one of the reasons why I like Slug against Submarine, because you could get like away with dirty air quote dirty, like dirty as in like nasty mix up kind of builds like
Yes.
that. I think it's actually like gonna survive too is kind of
This is kind of an RNG thing, because look at... Oh, okay.
I
Go
think
back
you
in.
mean a skill issue.
Yeah, okay, it's both. It also is skill issue, because I should not have said this little. I have way more space, I should be using it. I shouldn't have said
Yep.
something so quickly. But then I looked at his board, and it's like, he only has a 3-chain!
Yeah.
But then he gets, like, so many purples, and then he also gets so many yellows, so this is super powerful.
Yep.
Otherwise he would not have survived. But anyway, skill diff as well. It's fine.
Yeah. That's what you have to say to yourself so you stop.
That's fine. Everything's fine. I built a real chain this time. Smiley face.
Yeah, you're not dead. He does. Dude, this is actually really garbage
Riley.
building.
Riley.
Yeah. How do you feel? That was actually nasty. That was like the most insane mid game he has played this entire fucking set.
So, you know what this guy specializes in?
What?
You can guess, right? Why would you build like that? How
Oh,
do you...
wait, did he play PvT?
He's one of the, like, top, probably, at least in my brain, he's like a top 3 PvT guy. He's so
Oh
good.
shit.
So I should have known that the moment I got to this stage of the game, I should have really, really been extending my chain, because I should have known he was gonna be, like, insane at garbage chaining. But I leaned on my instincts and was like, a quick attack will do it. No, it's not. It's not good. So I had the player data, I didn't execute correctly. But also, that's nutty. This is such a cool way down. I have so much respect for him for, like, seeing this. This is awesome.
This was so sick.
So well played.
This has a lot more context to his mid game now.
Yes.
I did not have before.
That's why his freestyle sorts of forms are also, like, a thing. Sometimes they're not very good, but sometimes they are. Like, I think
It also explains.
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say that explains like extreme amounts of why he built submarine. Like
Yes, exactly.
I didn't talk about this, Tony. Frosties. I think my current opinion is Slug and Submarine are the two best forms against Tetris.
I like it. Good thinking.
Because I only build Submarine and Slug against Tetris now.
Yeah, nice.
Okay. There's a lot of cover, but okay. I guess he's opting for powers. So as long as you can get to something reasonable to just defend, it's gonna be really hard for him to deal with resources.
And that was a little too much. So here's a few things that I thought through in this very moment. I was like, okay, he's got a lot of power here. The problem is I'm
Yeah,
not going to be able to get to my trigger in time because I have green and there's like
agreed.
blue and it's like that's awful. Okay, I'm going to use
Yeah,
the right side of my chain instead. Great. Happy days. My mistake is that I put this blue here because I'm like, oh, it's green, blue, purple, blue. No. So this blue should have gone in column 5. And if it had, it would have been a 5 chain. And I think I would have won
yeah.
this game.
I
So that,
I think you also could put that instead. It's like a quick adaptation to senior Q.
mm,
I think that the green blue can just go in column 5.
correct. I also have that read play. So if anyone in chat is wondering what we mean, this green blue here could go here. Or actually, the other way I think would be stronger. Blue and
Yeah,
then
that
green.
way, yeah,
Because
blue.
otherwise, yeah, the green will clear later
Yeah,
that
but
way. Because there's a green in queue.
yeah,
But I think I used so much brain power on deciding that instead of my head, I'd use the tail, that I then didn't think about how to use the tail because I was rushing because this is like about to explode. So I don't blame myself, but yeah, definitely like I should have watched Q a little harder.
yeah. Definitely no reason to blame yourself. It's just one of those like you're going to a much advanced point in the game, and it's just hard to think about those things when you don't usually get put in that position.
Exactly. And then yeah, he follows up really well. So nice game overall though.
Hmm.
Look, GTR, hooray, readable. Mental stack and Puyo is insanely hard to manage. Yeah, exactly, friend. This chain is so good for me. Look, I built my second transition already.
Yeah, like it's pretty nasty.
It's
He's
really
having
good.
some trouble. Like his tail's good, but he's having some trouble with the extension.
But actually, I think that's the fun of his chain too. Green, blue, red,
Yeah.
purple.
Okay.
And then I get scared by the garbage, and then he sends a 3 chain, and then I have to use all of this. Have to.
Which is unfortunate, but oh, I just agreed.
And now I have to play rebuild game.
Yeah. This feels
And
bad.
this piece is the bane of my existence. Because I don't know how to extend with this double purple. It's like I can't put, like, I malfunctioned. So I was like, I don't know how to
I
use
would have
double
just put
purple.
this in column 2, to be honest.
As in, like, green in column.
No, I would put the double purple in just column 2.
Oh, like, just here. But I don't
Yeah,
see any
because
more
it might.
purples in queue. So then I can't I can't finish
You just have to
this.
commit. I think you just have to commit 2 and just pray.
And guess what I did? Because in the end, but that panic cost me too much time.
Yeah, you also get at least 2 pieces from it.
Yeah. So then I end up getting my chain off, but like that double purple like ruined my life basically. It's still a pretty good chain, but I think if I hadn't hesitated, I would have been able to extend more.
I agree with that. Like it's not terrible. Like you still got what? It's 13. Yeah, 13.
Yeah, it's a really good chain. Guess what?
I have to build another 13. Good luck.
Yeah, pretty much. So, in hindsight, let's reverse back a bit. My lesson that I've already taken away from this is that here he still has like 6 or 7 links to go. I'm also
Yeah.
this high up on the board. I can afford to make really greedy decisions because I cycle through so many pieces. So, the actual hindsight that I'm thinking is actually go extreme greed. Put green here, put red here, put the double purple on top. So I'm waiting for 3 greens, 3 reds, and a blue, which is a lot to ask for. But also, they have so much chain left. I have so much time because I'm so high up. So that's my thought on how to play this point.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if there's any other way you could have extended this, but
It's really weird.
I don't think they're. But
The reds cause
over like what
problems.
is now? Like not without changing your entire form, which I think would still be just as convoluted anyway. So I don't think it really matters. He's not in the grand scheme
Yeah.
of like what's important to like as practice at the moment.
Um, I think that's one of the ones that I'd like to call a judgment error again, where I didn't realize I had so much time. I need to recognize that when I have time, I'm allowed to greed. Um, I get scared to make committal decisions, but that only really matters in mid game when the opponent can attack you, and if their chain is almost about to end. But when it's not, you are allowed to be greedy.
I agree. Oh, I love yellows. Very cool.
No reds.
No reds. Yeah, my
And guess what?
favorite.
His chain
Cute.
is lovely
Yeah,
because he didn't need him.
my favorite. Situations like this, I always feel like really awkward because like, oh, I can attack, but since their chain's already ready, their chain's technically already better to begin with.
And so they use their better chain on me, and then I
Yeah.
die.
I can't help but feel like situations. I wonder how much. Sometimes I wonder if it's just better for me to be like, I'm just gonna keep building and hope they don't notice until I feel like I have a comfortable amount of anything.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's actually not a bad strategy a lot of the time. Just pretend that everything's okay,
Mhm.
and then they might play normally as well, and then you can respond to like normal gameplay instead of them actually rushing you down for like a bad build.
Exactly. Like, don't knowledge check yourself, make them knowledge check you
Exactly.
themselves.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Fortunately, it's a little bit of bleed now. I think they're doing a solid job of adapting, and it seems like
Yeah.
they're warming up their builds now.
I think also a key part is that a lot of my losses aren't actually that significant. Like I'm pretty close. I do the thing again where I make a hole in column one. I really
Yep.
need to stop doing this. Makes it so hard to extend.
Okay, even you have bad habits.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Invulnerable after all. Can't believe it.
Crazy guys. I'm hesitating a lot because I don't know how much they want to commit. So I'm trying to play a defensive game instead of offensive. Because I want
I
to.
think I think it's reasonable. Especially since given the last couple of rounds have been like just very slight.
Make any sense. I think I
Yeah.
panicked and misstruck that. That just cut off all access to my chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. That. That's
Yeah,
like, what am
that's
I doing?
probably just misread the green as a yellow. I've done that before. Like, oops.
Yeah. I think it was just something simple like that. Anyway, bye.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I do like the amount of gameplay mistakes are very small in comparison to the amount of it that is not a mistake, but more like just ingrained these systems into me.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're playing like mechanically bad or anything like that. I think it's also that I see you learned your lesson about vertical. Still a little rough though.
I did the same thing again.
Yeah, I think what you should do if you're doing vertical is a strategy I learned from. Oh God, I don't know a Japanese player,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna tangent real quick in case you want to pause.
Yes, go for it.
Um, well, probably things I've learned from a couple Japanese players who do vertical
Hmm.
is the timing of when you want to pop your one chain is actually like, super important
Hmm.
because you're immediately at disadvantage early in an all clear mat
Yes.
if you have to pop. Because you're real vertical, you're not safe at all.
Yes.
I've noticed that most of it happens after the first transition. Like once you're done with the complete first floor, and I think part of it is because that's the part you can start building high.
Yeah,
And
true. An counter build will like cap out its chain
yeah,
power.
exactly. And then usually what you're doing is you're leaving at least two Puyo available on your trigger at all times. Like you almost never cut off your trigger because the counter build will generally have the advantage at first.
Yes.
And you're basically waiting to find a good moment to pop a quick four, either in response to them popping, or you're trying to like make them use the four themselves because you know at that point you're even. They have to do something with their counter chain,
Mm-hmm.
and because you're already a floor and a half up, you can just freely extend where they have to just go with whatever they have.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
these rounds, I'm just clearing it way too early.
yeah, God, I forget what Japanese player I still left from. But I was like, I just want to go vertical all the time. Or sorry, horizontal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it feels safer, I think. I think here also my thinking is, oh, if I cut that off right now, they have like no chain.
Yeah.
But also they still have an all clear, so I need to like defend.
Yeah, and unfortunately, because your first horizontal bed, you see you're still building horizontally. There's nothing to defend
Yeah,
with.
that's right. I like that idea though. Try and get as far as I can. Like at least get the first floor done before I clear the all clear. And if I have to, then just have a one chain available with my first floor so that I can respond to them sending it off, and then they're at disadvantage.
Yeah, it's just because it's just one of those like the timing mismatch is so much in it.
This is crazy. That's crazy. I did not read that. There's another misread situation.
Yeah, and the mysteries are kind of just natural, unfortunately. Just because what's it called? Because the level you're playing, right? Because go back is like, oh, you're not really entirely used to it yet,
Hmm.
which is unfortunate that I keep repeating. But it's just one of those times. Like, no, it's the same with coaching. Like, unfortunately, you just have to repeat to yourself so you remember.
Yeah,
You're relearning the same lessons.
exactly, exactly. Focus points for like um that was a mistake, I think.
Mhm.
And then I try and clean up my build. Okay. This is hold on. I'll get to the point again. Okay, so this attack feels fine in the moment because it looks like he can only main chain, right?
Yeah.
He pulls out this conversion, which changes the entire flow of the game. He takes away the purple, and that means that I have to now play disadvantage. So it felt like a safe attack in the moment, and it was a really safe attack, actually. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
And
think about this though. The part that comes next. Like what do I do?
I think this is just him having a good response. If
Mm,
I feel like this decision, like the specific point goes back to like how you built the trigger and less like could you have read this? I think this is just he had a good opportunity to build what he wanted to.
mm,
And whereas you kind of already opted into an attack by having so many pillars.
sure. Sure. I was very committal on the decision. I guess I didn't need to be so early.
Yeah.
I guess if I wanted him to main chain, okay, so here's the struggle question I have. If I want him to main chain, I need two conditions. One, something that's powerful enough. Two, something that's fast enough.
Yeah.
So ideally, you just do a huge two chain, but I don't have a huge two chain without putting that green there because of this piece.
Mhm. And at that point, it's like, yeah, look at your build and be like, was this the correct decision? When you look at
Hmm.
theirs, like in hindsight, it looks like their build is still relatively safe, whereas yours now is just super committal.
So I guess the better choice, rather than firing this attack, it feels like such a right choice.
Yeah, but it's not. I think it's a false kind of like right choice because you that giant purple pillar is very easily just able to reveal the yellows.
Hmm.
And 3 links is a long time.
I guess what I should have done is, if I want to still use this, chuck the yellow red, like yellow here red, and then I can make a choice about using this red to clear this 3 chain, or I can just not use it instead of committing
Yeah.
so early. That's also very clever find though. I would have just main chain, but that's a very clever card. It's, I don't have enough.
Yeah, now we're at 10 right now.
Yeah, right. He just runs away with it. Just small
Yeah,
things.
yeah, the small things definitely have added up quite a bit,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. I do still feel like the set feels close. Like it doesn't feel like it's over
Yeah,
or like
crazy, right?
losable.
And then I can't read his chain again. So I'm waiting for him to do
Yeah.
something with it. And then I'm like, oh, this is main chain.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't.
Who reads that? That looks like the reds are gonna go down and then clear the rest of this.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't blame fault myself for that either. Oh yeah,
It's hard not to read. It's like the Delvers anyway, so you're probably blocked off.
yeah. So here, he's again playing that like very clever mix-up weird chain. Makes it hard for me to respond to anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he goes for another weird build.
Yeah, it's just a lot more this kind of Tetris counter. I think he's caught on that you can't read the chain form.
Exactly, and I fall for it. I keep trying to read it instead of just focusing on like building out my resources effectively, which I think would have been the counterplay.
Yeah. I think if you can't figure out what you're punishing, you should just do your game plan as best as you can.
Yeah, yeah,
Even
in a
if that
competitive
unfortunately
setting.
means just constantly saying full chain.
That's right. Because often if you can't read their chain, it means their chain is also really hard to work with.
Yep.
So
Or
that
you're
felt
new
fine.
to the game.
Yes, yes. And then this explodes way more than I have time for, so I don't get greens in time. So he will, I guess, well played. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good takeaways from this set. I think it's just all rough moments too.
Yeah.
Because now it definitely feels like you're just defaulting a lot more to GTR and you're not really bringing out your other forms anymore.
Yeah, because I just want to be able to like work around his stuff. And then I'm waiting for reds, I'm waiting for reds, I'm waiting for purple. Hits.
Yeah,
And
that's
because
so
otherwise I
bad.
had purple, red, green, blue, green. Like I had main chain, like you were saying, I was going straight main chain because I can respond with main chain, and I just didn't get my piece in time, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's so lucky. It happens sometimes like that adaptation, sometimes it's just a little too late.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I adapted too late there. Like if I'd done that a few rounds ago, I would be in a safer position instead of being on match point. But you know, when you're a match point, you're just playing 50-50 games all the time because the RNG can always take that 1 point away from you.
Yeah, my general rule is if you're on match point, you should not change your game plan.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just stick to consistent.
Yeah. I think at the probably if you want to change your game plan, you probably want to do like round 3 in case you need to warm it up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I do think this set like was good though, like in general, like for stuff that we talked about practicing, the stuff you clearly have like your mix up game was much stronger, I think, at the start of the set, but also
Exactly.
being the willingness to change up your forms.
Mm.
It seems like it's just that once the snowball kind of happened, I think you kind of fell back into the tunnel of only doing what you're comfortable on again.
Correct. Yes, that was very, very prevalent.
Yeah, and I think Luke, or sorry, I'm about to make a comparison, so I'll say Lucario first.
Hmm.
But I think GTR as a form suffers from like Shoto character syndrome, like characters like Ryu, Lucario,
Hmm.
where they are the pro tag kind of characters,
Uh-huh.
and that because they are like their pro tag form, they're the most easy to read and know what to do with.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just very easy for like comfort to come back. And I think this is where I'm gonna say it's like a more a player matchup thing and less like a skill related thing.
Hmm.
I think right like in the West, right, you can just play GTR because
Hmm.
it's comfortable, it works, no one can really
Yes.
beat it. I think in Japan they're probably just so used to seeing it that it's very hard to make GTR a standout thing, which
Yes.
is why you have people like this guy, right, who have Submarine in the back pocket. I think
Yeah.
other people have like Thrawn and other people have like L shape.
Exactly. Yeah. And even I can pull out alternate forms, but I
Yeah.
tend to stop doing that when I start feeling uncomfortable, which I need to like. I guess I need to drill these other forms more so that I can feel comfortable pulling them even when I'm at disadvantage, which is when I stop using them usually.
Yeah, I think it's either drill them more in practice, but I think the bigger part is if you start falling behind a set, I think eventually you guys just have to be like rip that band-aid off, and unfortunately it may cost you a set by more points than you would like.
Hmm.
But sometimes the best way is trial by fire and just be like, okay, something nothing is working right now.
Hmm.
Even if I use this form, if I'm not as comfortable, the other form I am most comfortable on isn't even working. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
will do 5 rounds of like just sullen only if it that
Yeah,
for some shit.
yeah, very true. Yeah, I like the idea there. Like, you may as well, if your game plan hasn't been working, it's not worth continuing to pursue it. Should at least try something else, and then it might work. And if it doesn't, then whatever. Like, you would have lost anyway with continuing to do what you were doing.
Yeah, it's just like, do you want to do like the decision gives you a better chance at winning, or do you want to just like lose gracefully?
Exactly. Exactly. Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that first half though, this is some of the best gameplay I've put out recently. I think that up until the actually 17 to 18, so he won 12 points in a row, which is insane. There was some that I got
yeah,
really close on, but like, yeah, that was really solid until that point. Um, so yeah, that's right. I was like a few points behind for most of the lead up to that point. So then I finally caught up, and then he ran away after it. But the fact that I was able to be consistent for so long, even when I was at less points,
yeah.
I feel like I'm quite proud of that.
I think you did well. I feel like they also just kind of woke up. I think your initial stuff against his submarines were good. I
Mm,
think it probably was him just like not being comfortable bringing it out right away.
true. That's also a good point. Yeah, and then he got into that comfort zone for the last like 10 points.
Yeah, and that there's not a lot to say there other than like I I would say you have to chalk it up to like player studying in a way. Like, oh,
Mm,
I see I'm playing this player. Have I seen them before? If answer is yes, even if the information is old, it can still be helpful to at least like look at it so you have it in the back
mm,
of your head. Like with what you mentioned before, like because halfway through the set you're like, oh yeah, this person's also really good at PBT.
yes.
I would have probably played the game a lot more safely on length,
Mm,
just like off that information alone, as like a hindsight thing,
yeah,
as
totally.
like a game prep. So at least that's how I look at things. Like if I were to see like a player builds mainly submarine, I'd be like, okay, they're probably gonna have a lot of diving tails, so covering them probably needs to be like more substantial.
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
think
Oh, you go first.
I was gonna say like, and that can also be extended on like, okay, if I have to send more trash, submarines are also very good at building powers on top of
Hmm.
trash. So it's like, uh, it kind of it kind of all kind of like spirals into creating a game plan of like, okay, things I can look out for.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I came into the set with the PvT knowledge, but also I went and watched his recent match in this league, and I think
Yeah,
my biggest takeaway was he is a really fast player. So during this set, um, I'm not sure if it like particularly came up for you, but I was so conscious of every split that I made because his resource game is really, really effective because he's such a fast player. And he's fast because he has to play PvG a lot. So he can't his beast response and things like that. So I do feel like I adapted to that aspect well because the only reason I was able to keep up with his attacks is because I was playing as fast as he was. And if I was splitting more and playing slower, then he would have, I
yeah,
think, taken a lot more points early on. So I adapted to that part of his gameplay, but the other part I hadn't adapted to is the chaining style, which, like you said, the consideration of him being able to pull out submarine sometimes because of PvT, I hadn't thought about that. And so I guess it's just like multi-dimensional analysis before you go into a match against that player.
yeah. And I don't blame you for not thinking about that. I think Puyo kind of goes into this situation where like you don't really see chain forms as other characters in the West.
Mm,
You kind of just see them as, oh, they're just chaining, right?
yeah.
There is no real like yeah, I guess I'll say it's very minimal, right? Like people talk about
Yes.
like Hoover Dan, right? Like his tail
Yeah.
forms. Like you kind of like people look at that specific situation as a character, where
Mm-hmm.
it really it's just like a part of a bigger character. They don't really
Exactly.
see like the gameplay and play of changes can change significantly based on like a key form.
Yes. Yes.
And I think that's just hard even for you. I don't think it's like I don't think it's fair to say like you should already know that because
Mm.
you haven't had to know that.
Exactly. For players, exactly. That's correct.
Yeah. Because and also like that information didn't really get started to be thinking about other than like any of the other play because he could even think about that much. Like I it
Mm.
wasn't think until I joined and I talked about it with Puyo versus Tetris specifically that
Mm-hmm.
people started kind of like hovering on the idea, but it's still not like a Puyo versus Puyo thing. It's still mainly a Puyo versus Tetris thing in the
Exactly.
West.
Yeah. Yeah. The chain is that beautiful is just it's just a preferential thing, and most of the
Yeah.
time it is, to be honest. But I think it's when you get crazy with it, like he does.
Yeah.
Like this is. I mean, could he even call this submarine anymore? I don't know. It's like
I would still refer to it as a form because I know Saki gets basically just called submarine player and he does like the
weird
little
stuff
L
too.
on
Yeah.
the bottom as a starting form.
So I
It's
guess
a
it's
very
like what's it called? Submarine like alternate form, I suppose.
yeah.
Gee.
It's very weird because submarine is like I look at it as a loose key form name
Mhm,
because I've seen submarine described as so many different forms.
mhm,
Like I don't know, I'm gonna fucking draw it real quick
mhm.
because I think it's easier in my head
Sure,
to just be like, okay, this is like a form I've seen, and this is like, oh, here's another form that I have seen.
sure.
Because like this, okay, like even these three, even though they technically have different names and they are technically not all submarines, all kind of get lumped in as submarine builds. I think because of like the way they tail is kind of the same. In some
I
ways, like
see.
it's very diving.
Yeah, and he
Like I've
can.
seen,
Okay, no, go for it. Talk. Yeah.
I say like the top one, I've seen Saki build.
Mhm.
It's some very old matches, and people would still refer to it as submarine.
Yeah, I see.
I, the one in the middle has been called submarine. The one on the right, or sorry, the bottom, actually it's called something different. But in
Oh,
my opinion, it's still basically a submarine. It's just that it's
yeah,
facing the other way.
yeah. Interesting. Okay, yeah, yeah. I suppose it's good to know that anyone who can build submarine has multiple option selects for the way they form their base, is my takeaway for this form and style of gameplay that a player who plays like this might do.
Yeah, which kind of goes back to like learning more of the forms. Because I think submarine's one of the few unique ones where like the base can actually just change based on preference.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Much more than
Because
other forms.
yeah, because like right, GTR doesn't change. Like, GTR is the
Yes.
same.
Yeah.
Like every time, like it's just the extension on the trigger and like same to like long GTR. But
Yeah.
submarine is weird in the sense that, like it can just be this, or like
Yeah.
the other variant is like submarine and like slug have the option to not only have different bases,
Mm.
but also to reverse,
Yes. Very true.
which is why I think they're very strong. Like those two in particular are very strong
Hmm.
against Play vs Tetris because they can build high, they reverse into tail, so like there's so much you can do with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Also makes
totally.
them incredibly hard to read
Hmm.
and to
Yes.
build.
Yes. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword because if I can recognize that there's a weird build and I just simply get chain length off, for example, then it's hard to beat that unless they're like really confident with the form. Which Suda-san here, I don't know if he was that so confident that he'd be able to pull big chains that I'd be able to do with GTR. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
I guess the main takeaways from this can be like if you can have the option to pre-match prep, obviously you should just always just freebie, right?
Mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I guess the other thing that might be worth doing is if you see them build forms that you're just either not you don't feel as familiar with, or maybe you feel like there could be a bit more to it.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Japanese wiki, which I think is significantly more useful,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
or like Puyo Nexus, see like, okay, is there any weird possible thing I could miss out here?
Yes. Yeah.
Then the other part outside the prep is maybe picking like one of the two other forms that you like doing besides GTR and just like hard committing on it if it comes up.
Yes. Yeah. Just so that I have mix-up options even when I'm under pressure. Oh, I need to make sure that my attacks don't leave holes in column one. That was really bad. It happened a few times.
Yeah,
Makes it really hard to extend.
that's true. Yeah, column one I think was the big one.
Very vulnerable.
There wasn't any like noticeable issues I think on tailing. Like there's like maybe like a mistake, but it's like that's just heat of the moment slash you're volleying,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be like covered.
In fact, I think my toe play that game was really solid because a lot of the time I
Agreed.
converted it into attack options or defense options when I needed to. So I should just continue doing what I'm doing with my tails, I think.
Yeah,
Feels like.
I, I agree. I think your attacks are still solid. It just was, the game plan went wrong. You started to like autopilot.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
that's less of a attack issue and more of, kind of like the maybe prep will help you
It's a
there
game plan.
versus
Yeah.
yeah. It'll be interesting to see how this works. I do think that you are improving. It's just I imagine there will be like, there's a slope right versus steady line, then it dips down for a little bit, then before it dips back up.
Yes, definitely.
I I think when you try out other forms and like just it kind of goes back to like losing gracefully. You
Hmm.
probably won't be able to lose gracefully at first, but I think it will kind of like eventually swing back around and it will end up at a much higher peak.
Definitely. I think, in fact, as well, one thing that I had come away with after doing this set is that I realized that my conversion opportunities have sort of come back. I think I used to be even like the JP player wiki. Um, it lists me as being like a very convertible chain player, And for the
Mm-hmm.
past couple of weeks, I stopped being able to do that, and I was like, oh no, have I lost this ability? But it seems like because I was focusing on other aspects of the game, because we were doing these reviews and I was coming up with other things to do, I had to let go of
Yep.
that for a while. And now I'm starting to reintegrate that in. And then I used it a ton this set. So it also feels like I'm leveling up because I'm combining this old playstyle thing back in with the new stuff that I'm learning.
Yeah,
So I definitely feel like there's improvement happening, which is nice.
that's true. And I think it's also just hard to like when you're practicing something new to immediately put your strong fundamentals into the new thing.
Correct,
So you
yeah.
have to work out like what you would want from the new thing.
Yes, the quirks of it, all of that sort of thing. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty happy with that
Yeah, that's fun.
review. I think we got some good stuff out of it. As always. We're so good at this, friend.
Thanks. I think sitting down and reviewing play is on the I would say easier end between I guess the different steps of being a player, which I would categorize as you have studying
Mhm.
in the sense of like pregame prep, you have the studying of reviewing,
Uh-huh.
you have general practice, which can be broken up into like playing sets with people and solo play,
Yes.
in between like the shadow box and all that. I think live play when I have to play myself, I am weaker on.
Hmm.
But that's also because I've just always been more of a coach and analyst. I think I'm much better at looking at things and figuring out like could this have been done better, or I think my other strength is just talking things out. I don't think I have to necessarily give the answer to someone I'm doing analysis
Yeah.
to. I don't need to be right. I just need to like help enable a conversation about it so they can find what they feel is the answer.
Yeah, that's one of the most powerful things you can do as any sort of like teacher, whether that's like a coach or like whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. Just start a conversation.
Yeah. And I do think it's easier for the meet you dynamic because when you are a teacher, so you understand that.
Yeah.
And you understand like concepts I don't need to explain, right? Like I can pitch a
Yes.
idea and it's not like it will not come off to you like, oh, I just am right about this one thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
right? It's like you think about it like fruitfully.
We can pick it apart, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, I think the other anything that makes us work well together. I can't really say for what I think Void's also pretty solid at it. Same for Dan, which is why they're also strong.
They're very analytical people.
Yeah. I think the issue is there is that they don't really get as much opportunity, I think, to review with other people. I think Void has Elio,
Hmm, I see. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
right, because they practice all the time together. If they did, I don't know if that's still true. I assume it is. Dan, I
Yeah, I
don't
have no
really
idea.
know if he talks to anyone.
Hmm.
It feels like he kind of just studies his own way.
Yeah, right.
I think Cooper he does some review for himself, but just not often.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, again, I'm hoping like do it that by bringing people this sort of like content as well, like they can sort of see how a review would work in their own context,
Mhm.
so that we can lift the community up with us.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think it's helpful to listen to other people like review stats because it gives you I think it gives people an general idea of what they want to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think it's just it can be hard if you're not like at within a certain level to immediately process information.
Totally.
Like
That's true.
we're like when we talk about like different forms of tailoring, like we were usually just like okay, just move the green blue somewhere
Yeah.
else, and you can just like instinctively know what I am
Exactly.
talking about.
That's true too. Yeah, it does take a fair bit of baseline knowledge, but as long as you establish that between the two players who are reviewing, you can make it work even at lower levels. It's just harder because
But
it's not modeled very often.
I agree, and I think it's just harder if you're like someone new who's like listening in and they're
Mm.
like, what the fuck are they talking
Yeah,
about?
true
What
too.
the hell?
Yes.
I think that kind of does it for the rest of my thoughts, since I will be going to bed soon.
Yeah, thanks for all of that. I know we were like 1 hour. That was basically a 2 hour session. So thank you for offering up your thoughts and your time.
Yeah, no worries. I really like doing this type of stuff.
Yay!
I always like coaching and analysis. I just know it's what I'm personally good at. So
Yippee! Heck yeah! Hopefully you can take away some stuff as well, because that would be very useful.
yeah, I think I have. I think I do better when I have someone to talk out thoughts with.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my weaknesses I'm just kind of bad at solo play. So
Mm.
like just sitting in with people, I think I my brain wants to work more if I want to do
Yeah,
that.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I think for now I will probably just go right to bed because I am tired. I've had 5 hours of sleep.
Oh my gosh, please get some rest. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to bed at 3 a.m. yesterday and I
Oh
woke up
dear.
at what time? I woke up at 8. It's supposed to be
Oh.
3 a.m. So
Yeah. Let's get you to bed.
it's bedtime. This is bed.
Yes. Yes.
All right. You have fun with the rest of your day. Thanks for
Thank
the
you.
review.
Yeah. Thank you too. Have a good night. Rest well, friend.
Night.
Good night. Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that session. That's actually all I had planned for tonight. I think I just wanted to go in, get thoughts on the table, see what we should be looking to do more moving forward. I won't do any practice tonight. I feel like I'm fairly tired, so I will leave it at that tonight. Tomorrow, I am out during the day, so there won't be a daytime stream, but there might be an evening stream. That might be when I play some more Puyo. So, or something else. Whatever I feel like, to be honest. But we should be back around this time again tomorrow. So, I'll catch you guys then for that. For now, though, thanks everybody for hanging out, and as always, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Love you guys, and I'll see you all next time. Good night.